Hey mathematics learners, welcome to Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. So on today's video tutorial, we're going to be looking at how we work with, a recipe to help us, convert, cups to milliliters or milliliters to cups, right? Given a table that we're supposed to use, okay, to help us to convert between the different units of measurement, okay? So this question is very important, okay? Please make sure that you pay attention, you are fully engaged, you stop the video, you pause it, you read the question on your own, check to see if you're able to, answer it before you watch the lesson, okay? So let's have a see. Also, please take screenshots, okay, so that you are able to, keep up with what I'm doing. Okay, so question 5. So we obviously, given the ingredients and information for making for a brownie recipe, okay, right? So we're given what is the preparation time. So to prepare these brownies, so the mixing and the pouring of the flour and stuff like that, right? The preparation time is 15 minutes. Then we're told that the baking time is 35 minutes. Okay, so when you're putting those brownies in your oven, it takes 35 minutes for them to be ready. Then we're given the temperature, okay, is 330 degrees Fahrenheit. So obviously we can see this is not a recipe for, South Africans, if you get what I'm saying, because we're given units of measurements in degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we're given the units in cups. Okay, we're given the units in cups, right? In teaspoons, right? So definitely now we're working with imperial system. We want to convert to the matrix system. Okay, so we want to convert to milliliters, which is what we use in South Africa. We want to convert to milliliters, okay, right? Okay, we want to convert these cups to milliliters. We want to convert the degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius, okay, what we use. So we want to move from imperial to matrix system. So that's the whole point. That's what we're doing. That's what we're going to be doing in this question, right? Then we're given the ingredients to make these brownies. You need half a cup of butter. You need 1 cup of white sugar. You need 2 eggs. You need 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. You need a 1/3 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. You need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You need a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. You need half a cup of all-purpose flour. Okay, this is just for the ingredients. Then now, to do the frosting, to frost the cream there at the top that we all love, okay, you need 3 tablespoons of butter. You need 3 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. You need 1 tablespoon of honey. You need a teaspoon of vanilla essence, and you need 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. So that's what we're going to need to obviously do the frosting. Another thing that's very important here, right? We are given that this recipe will make 16 brownies. Okay, so everything that's in this recipe is enough to make 16 brownies. Okay, then we are told, note, brownies are baked in an 8-inch by 8-inch square pan. Okay, they're giving us the pan that they use to obviously, bake these brownies. And we are told that 1 batch, okay, is equal to 16 brownies. So 1 pan, okay, can take the 1 batch that you're going to be putting into your oven, it can take 16 brownies. Okay, we're also given the conversion table for butter. So 1 tablespoon is equal to 14 grams. A half a cup is equal to 113 grams, and you're given 250 grams is equal to 1 block. Okay, so here, right, we're not actually going to be converting to milliliters, but based on this conversion factor table that's given to us, we're actually going to be converting to grams. Okay, so please take note of that. Okay, so it tells us that Miss J Nolan is baking brownies using the ingredients and information given on Annexure B. All right, she wants to be finished with the baking at 16:45. She can only bake 1 batch of brownies at a time. So meaning that she can only put 1 batch of brownies at a time. So she can only put into the oven 16 brownies. Okay, right? Cool stuff. Then, while the batch is in the oven, she prepares the next batch and places it in the oven the moment the previous batch is taken out. So with this question, I think these questions are what usually shows learners flames, if you get what I'm saying. Okay, is that you don't know how to work with that preparation time, the baking time, what is happening. So this information here tells us how to work with the preparation time and the baking time. So in actuality, when let's say she wants to create or make 2 batches, right? So she's gonna mix all the ingredients for 2 batches, right? Okay, and then obviously she's gonna pour the dough into the pan. She's going to put the pan into the oven, right? Okay. And then what's important that's being told to us is that while the first batch is in the oven, she's preparing the next batch. So it doesn't really, if you actually look at it, then that means that even if you're creating or making 2 batches, you're only going to use 15 minutes for preparation time. Because when this one is in the oven, okay, you're making that batch. So you're not gonna, say 15 times 2 to get the preparation time. No, because of this statement that is given to us that while a batch is in the oven, she makes the next batch. So the fact that she's making the next batch when one batch is in the oven, it really doesn't add to that preparation time. You can also look at it as just baking time, if you get what I'm saying. So that's very important when you're obviously analyzing. That's where, when you have to determine the time it will take to bake, that's where most learners get a bit confused there. Okay, you need to read the instructions that are given. What's happening? Try to figure out what is this statement telling you, okay, and how you can apply it based on the information that is given to us. Okay, I hope I'm clear with all of this that's given to us here. So it says, use the information annexed to B to answer the questions below. Question 3.1.1. Miss Nolan would like to bake 80 brownies. Okay, so she wants to make 18 brownies. Determine the number of batches she needs to make. Okay, so she wants to make how many brownies? 80 brownies. I'm just going to do these solutions here. I'm going to start here at the top, question 3.1.1. Please note that I've obviously extracted these questions from previous past papers. I've looked at questions where I feel like, okay, they're important. Okay, you can get the most out of this question. That's how I've looked for these questions. Okay, and then from there, it'll help you prepare. Okay, it gives you an overall feel of what you need to be able to do. So please watch these the next sequence of videos that I'm gonna be uploading. It gives you an overall feel of questions that you should be expecting for measurements in an exam. Okay, so that's what I'm starting off with, the measurement questions. Okay, cool. Question 3.1.1. Remember now, she wants to make 80 brownies. So we're going to write that 80 brownies. Okay, how many batches will she need to make? So here, this is very easy because we are given an equation that we can use that relates batches and brownies. Okay, and that equation is basically telling us that one batch is equal to 16 brownies. Okay, so then what do we need to do to determine how many batches Miss Nolan will need? Just take that 80 brownies that she wants to make, multiply by what you want. We want how many batches divided by what you have. Obviously, using the other value here. So 16 brownies. Okay, so then if you punch this into your calculator, it's the same as saying 80 divided by 16. Okay, that basically means that you need 5 batches, or she needs to make 5 batches, okay, if she wants to make 80 brownies. Okay, so she needs to put 5 batches into the oven. Cool stuff. Question 3.1.2. Calculate what time she must start preparing the first batch of brownies to be finished with the baking on time. Okay, so obviously we are told that she wants to be finished at 16:45. Okay, she wants to be done with the baking at 16:45. So I'm going to write this is question 3.1.2. She wants to be done at 16:45. Okay, that's when she wants to be done. Okay, so what time must she start preparing the food or the brownies to be finished with the baking on time, right? So now we need to take note of this. Remember that she wants to make 5 batches. That's what we've just found. She wants to make 5 batches of brownies. So now we need to now figure out how long will it take her to make these 5 batches of brownies. So we need to figure out what is the time that it will take for her to make the 5 batches of brownies. Okay, so we given information here. We told that to create 1 batch, okay, 1 batch takes 15 minutes baking time and 15 minutes preparation time. Okay, but remember, we're not, adding that 15 minutes preparation time all the time. Okay, because we were given that information that while 1 batch is in the oven, another batch is actually being prepared. Okay, so that means that how long will it actually take her then to make that 15 batches? Okay, it'll be the 15 minutes, okay, plus, okay, so remember she's only going to prepare once. Okay, it's the 15 minutes plus the 5 batches times 35 minutes. Okay, because remember, she's putting the first batch in the oven, then the second batch in the oven, then the third batch in the oven, then the fourth batch in the oven, then the fifth batch in the oven, right? But when she's busy, meaning that we're only preparing once, because while then another one is in the oven, she prepares the next batch. So our preparation time only needs to be used once. I hope this, makes sense. If it doesn't, play the video again and listen attentively, trying to figure out, deeply what I'm saying. Okay, so from there, it's just that 15 minutes plus, then you take 5 multiplied by 35, it's equal to 175 minutes. Okay, so therefore, what's the total time that it will take her to then make 5 batches? It's just 15 plus 175, so it's 190 minutes. Okay, but now us working with 190 minutes, we can't really, figure out how we need to move backwards, okay, to determine the time that she needs to start preparing these brownies. Okay, so then the tip here is just convert these minutes to like hours. Okay, because you've got, 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So let's see if we are able to figure out how many full hours do we have in that 190 minutes. Okay, so we can see that for 6, 12, 18. So this is basically equal to 3 hours and 10 minutes. That's how long it will actually take her to prepare and bake the 5 batches. 3 hours and 10 minutes, because 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So it's 6, 12, 18. So 180 minutes is 3 hours. Okay, plus the 10 minutes, because it's 119 there. 10 minutes, right? So then we can now work backwards, because remember, she needs to be done, right? Remember, she needs to be done at 16:45. Okay, so from there it becomes easy for us to then figure out, okay, what time she needs to start baking these brownies, because we've got minutes. We can subtract minutes from minutes, and we can subtract hours from hours. So from here we can just then take the 16.45, okay, minus 3 hours and 10 minutes, because this is also minutes, this is the hours. Okay, so what do we get there? 45 minus 10 is equal to 35 minutes. Okay, 16 minus 3 is equal to 13 hours. So this tells us that she needs to basically start at 35 minutes past 1 if she wants to be done at 16:45. Okay, because you can check 13:35, 13:35, 14:35, 15:35, 16:35, right? And then the 35 plus 10 gives us 45. So that's the time that she needs to start. She needs to start at 13:35. Okay, 35 minutes past 1 in the afternoon. All right, cool stuff. We are done with question 3.1.2. Question 3.1.3 says convert the baking temperature to degrees Celsius, rounded off to the nearest degree. Okay, so we want to convert, okay, the value that's given to us 2 degrees Celsius. Okay, remember, we said that we need to set our oven to 330 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so how are we supposed to convert that to degrees Celsius? So this is question 3.1.3. Okay, we are given the formula that we are supposed to use. So it's degrees Celsius is equal to degrees Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 1.8. Okay, then from here, we're just going to substitute. Okay, what's the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit? We're given the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit as 330 degrees Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 1.8. Okay, so then punch into your calculator. Okay, you'll find that the temperature in degrees Celsius is 165, let's just say 56 degrees Celsius if you're rounding it off to 2 decimal places. But remember, the question asks us to round off to the nearest 10 degrees. So now we need to be very careful here. Okay, if they're asking us to round off to the nearest 10 degrees, that basically means that we're not going to be focusing on, okay, if we want to round off to the nearest 10 degrees, that means that we are rounding off to the nearest 10, if you get what I'm saying. So we're going to look at this unit. This is the units for ones or units. Then this is the place value for tens. Okay, so if they're telling us that we need to round off to the nearest 10 degrees, that basically tells us that we want to change the 6. Okay, we want to change the 6, or we're trying to determine what must we do to that 6. Okay, that 6 is in the place value for tens. Okay, so for us to determine what we need to do to that 6 to give us our final answer, you're gonna obviously look at the number before the 6. Okay, so the number before the 6, in this case, it's 165. Okay, so it's 165, all right? So in this case, what does that mean? That 5 basically tells us that if you want to round off this value to the nearest 10 degrees, that 5 is just going to change that 6 into a 7. So you're going to go up by 1 unit. So it's 170 degrees Celsius. Okay, 170 degrees Celsius. So very important when you're asked to, even if you're given this value, so let's just quickly look at this value. So it's 173, 156. Okay, now let's just quickly look at these two examples, right? Let's say they ask you to round off these two values to the nearest 10 degrees. Okay, so that means that, okay, we want to determine what do we need to do to that 7. We want to determine what we need to do to that 5, because that 7 and that 5 is in the place value of the tens, right? So for us to determine what we need to do to that 7, you need to look at the value that comes before the 7. If that value is a number that is below 5, that means that it needs to just stay the same. Okay, it's just gonna be 170. Okay, the 7 doesn't change, it just stays as 1, 7, and then a number that comes after the 7 is 0. Okay, so when you're running off to the nearest 10, nearest 100, nearest whatever, okay, in this case, the value that you will change if it has to change or not, but after that, it needs to be zeros. Okay, even here, want to round off the 156 to the nearest 10 degrees. Okay, so what will happen here, right? You're going to look at, let's say you got that answer of 156. Okay, you're going to look at, obviously, you're trying to determine if this 5 should change or not. What's going to help you determine whether the 5 should change or not is the number that comes before the 5. And because the number that comes before the 5, right, is a number that is greater than 5, okay, that means that we just need to change that 5 to a 6, and the number then that follows will just be 0 degrees Celsius, okay? So please don't mistaken rounding off to the nearest with rounding off to 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places. They're not the same thing. We do not round off in the same way. Okay, if they're asking you to round off to the nearest 10, nearest 100, they're just saying that I want the answer to be a whole number, and then it's guiding you on what value needs to either change or stay the same. Okay, so which place value that you need to look at. But if they're asking you to round off to 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places, then it's just telling you what are the decimal places, how many decimal places must you have after your comma. So do not confuse the two. Right, we're done with question 3.1.3. Question 3.1.4. Miss Nolan only has 2.5 blocks of butter. Okay, Miss Nolan has 2.5 blocks of butter. 2.5 blocks of butter. That's how much she has. Okay, verify whether the butter she has is sufficient for 80 brownies. Right, so this is we need to now focus. We need to now focus. Right, so this is how much she has. She has this amount. Okay, she has that amount. Will this amount of butter be enough? So now we need to take note of the following things, right? Obviously, she wants to make 80 brownies, right? So if she wants to make 80 brownies, we know that, okay? If she wants to make 80 brownies, we looked at this at the top. We found that, okay, we actually need to make 5 batches. Okay, we need to make 5 batches, right? And the ingredients that have been given to us here are ingredients for 1 batch. Okay, so that basically means that whatever is given to us on this ingredient table that has to talk about butter, it needs to be multiplied by 5 because we're not making 1 batch, but we're making 5. All right, so let's see here. How much butter do we need? So we're going to start off by looking at the ingredients part, right? Okay, so from the ingredients, we see that we need to look for the butter because that's what we're trying to determine. We're trying to determine if her butter is going to be enough. So we're looking at now where they're talking about butter. Okay, so here we can see that, okay, we need half a cup of butter for the ingredients part, but you're not done. You're not just looking at ingredients. We need to look at the ingredients and the frosting because you're doing this, you're baking and you're frosting. Okay, so let's also look for the part that talks about the butter on this side. We need 3 tablespoons of butter. So in actuality, right, to just make 1 batch, okay, for 1 batch, we will need a half a cup of butter plus 3 tablespoons of butter. That's what we need just for 1 batch. All right, so I hope everyone is following with me. Okay, hope everyone is following with me. If you are following, please comment I follow. I just want to see something. Right, cool. So we need half a cup of butter plus 3 tablespoons of butter. That is how much she needs for 1 batch. Right, but now remember, okay, for us to be able to check and see if she's got enough butter, the units that are given to us for butter, they are in blocks, right? So now we need to make a decision now. It's something that now you need to decide on your own, okay? For you to be able to compare these values, right? Okay, do you want to convert all of these values to blocks? Do you want to convert all of them to grams? Do you want to convert all of them to tablespoons so that you are able to compare, right? It needs to be something that you're thinking about on your own because we're given the units here that she has. She's got 2.5 blocks of butter. Okay, so do you want to now change all these values to blocks? Do you want to change the half a cup to the cup to blocks, the tablespoons to blocks, or do you want to change everything to grams? So you want to change those blocks to be in grams, convert them to grams. Okay, it's up to you because they were not specific as to which units we're supposed to use. So it's up to you what you want to do. Okay, no one is now forcing you to stick to a particular way. So I'm choosing that, you know what, I want to convert this to grams. And I'm doing this for a reason. Okay, I want to convert these to grams. I want to convert all these values. Okay, all these values for the amount of butter that we need, I want to convert them to grams. Okay, so I'm going to start now with just the butter that she needs for these for her ingredients, right, to just make 1 batch of brownies. So I'm going to convert the cups to grams and I'm going to convert the tablespoons to grams. So what do we use to help us convert? We were given this conversion table for butter, okay, where we are told that, I'm going to do it here, 1 tablespoon is equal to 14 grams. And we are told that half a cup, half is 0.5, né? Half a cup is equal to 113 grams, okay? And we are told that 250 grams is equal to 1 block. Okay, so these are the equations that we're going to use to help us convert these values into grams. Okay, so I'm going to start with half a cup of butter. Okay, what do we know? We want to convert the cups to grams. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take that half, guys. Now half a cup is equal to 0.5. Okay, so I'm just going to take that half a cup. Okay, I want to convert to grams. So which equation am I going to use that relates cups and grams? It's this one. Okay, so to help me convert from cups to grams, that means that I'm going to be using that equation. How can I use this equation? Take the half a cup of butter, multiply it by what you want. We want grams. Multiply by what you want. We want grams. Okay, so you're going to multiply by 113 grams divided by what you have. Obviously, that other value, you need to use it. 0.5 cups. Okay, right? So that's how we're going to convert what? That first part there. Cups to grams. Okay, that's the first thing. Then plus, we want to convert now the 3 tablespoons to grams. How do you convert tablespoons to grams? Which equation relates tablespoons and grams? You'll see that it's this one. This equation is the equation that has grams and tablespoons. So obviously that is the equation that we're going to be working with, because that's the equation that's going to help us convert the tablespoons to grams. So now we're going to take the 3 tablespoons. We want to convert to grams. So you're going to multiply by what we want. Sifuna grams. Multiplied by 14 grams divided by what you have. Obviously the other value, we have to use it. 1 tablespoon. Okay, and then from here we've actually now converted. Okay, it might seem like it's a bit going on, but if you're listening and you're taking notes and paying attention, you'll get what I'm doing there. Okay, so let's simplify further now. Let's simplify further. The cup and the cup cancel. This is actually the same as just saying 0.5 cups, right? Multiplied by 113 grams over 0.5 cups, okay, plus 3 tablespoons. So I'm just writing that again. Multiplied by 14 grams divided by 1 tablespoon. Okay, right? So from here, what do we see? We see that the cups and the cups cancel. The 0.5 and the 0.5 cancel. Okay, so we actually left with 113 grams plus 3 tablespoons multiplied by 14. Okay, so remember the tablespoons and the tablespoons cancel. 3 multiplied by 14 gives us 42 grams, right? Therefore, if you take 113 plus 42, that is equal to 155 grams. Okay, so what does this mean? It basically means that to make one batch, Miss Nolan basically needs 155 grams of butter. Okay, but remember, she's not just making one batch, but she's making 5 batches. So what do we need to do? So all that we need to do now, we just need to take that 155 grams, we're going to multiply that by 5, okay, because we need, how much butter will she need for 5 batches and not just one? Okay, so that's basically what I'm doing there. Okay, so if you take 155, you multiply by 5, you actually get that. Okay, to make 5 batches of brownies, she needs, okay, 155 grams multiplied by 5 is 775 grams of butter. Okay, so she needs 775 grams of butter. Right, so now we're not done. Okay, we've just figured out how much she needs, and we found that she actually needs 775 grams of butter. Okay, remember here at the top, right, we were told, right, that she has 2.5 blocks of butter. Okay, she's got 2.5 blocks of butter. So now the issue here is that we are not able to compare 2.5 blocks to 775 grams because the units are not the same. Here we've got blocks, here we've got grams. Okay, so it's not easy for us to compare and see if she has enough butter. Okay, so what is it that we need to do to be able to compare these two values? All that we need to do is now we need to convert the 2.5 blocks, okay, into grams. Right. So how can we, what is 2.5 blocks? Okay. So 2.5 blocks, okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's the same as just saying 2 blocks plus a half blocks. Okay. So 2.5 is 2 whole blocks plus a half blocks. Okay. So now how will we now convert, the 2 blocks into grams? Remember, we were given an equation that we can use there at the top, right? When you want to convert from blocks to grams. Okay. And that equation is 250 grams is equal to 1 block. Okay. So we can basically use that. Okay. We're using 250 grams is equal to 1 block. Okay, so that's the equation that basically relates grams and blocks because we want to convert to grams. Okay, now what do we need to do? What's 2 blocks in grams? So we're going to basically take, okay, therefore it's going to be 2 blocks. Okay, we want to convert it to grams, multiply by what you want. Okay, so we're going to use this equation. Okay, and from this equation, ask yourself, what is it that you want? You want to convert to grams. So I'm going to multiply by what you want, 250 grams, divided by, obviously, the other value, 1 block. Okay, so you see that the blocks and the blocks cancel. Okay, plus, okay, a half block. So that's like 0.5 blocks. Okay, how do you convert the 0.5 blocks to grams? Still the same thing. You multiply by what you want, divide by what you have. So you're going to multiply by 250 because you want grams. So you're going to multiply by 250 grams divided by 1 block. Okay, and then from there, we are going to continue to simplify this further. So 2 multiplied by 250 over 1. Okay, it's just 500 grams plus, this is 0.5 blocks. Okay, multiplied by 250 divided by 1. This is plus 125 grams. Okay, and then from there, if you take 500 plus 125, you will get 625 grams. Okay, so that is currently how much Miss Nolan has. She has 625 grams of butter. Okay, so now we're not done. Remember, the question was asking, right? Does she have enough butter to make 80 muffins? Does she have sufficient butter to make 80 muffins? Okay, so basically what we can conclude from, all these calculations, right, is that we said that, okay, we found that she needs 775 grams. So we found that she needs 775 grams. She has 625 grams. Therefore, she does not enough butter to make 80 brownies. All right. Okay. So that's the final answer. And that's what we can basically conclude from this question, that she does not have enough butter because she needs 775 grams. She has 625. Therefore, she does not have enough butter to basically make her brownies. Okay. So in the next question, right, we're going to be looking at this question where we are looking at Miss Nolan. Okay, I'm looking at this question, so you can also just take a screenshot. I don't know if you want to look at it for tomorrow in advance, right? They're telling us Miss Nolan uses a square baking pan with dimensions of 8 inches by 8 inches. She cuts the brownies in the baking pan into 16 equal blocks. So in this question, we're going to be calculating what is the surface area. Remember, they're saying the top surface area. What does that mean? Of the pan, right? Okay, then they're telling us that only 80% of the brownies were sold. Write down the number that was left. If 80% was sold, how much were left? Let's think. Write in ratio, simplified form, the ratio number of brownies to the number of brownies sold to the number of brownies left. So we're going to be looking at ratios in the next one, surface area, working with percentages. Okay, so that's the final question that we'll be looking at that incorporates, ratios, surface area, and percentage calculations, right? And then in the next video tutorial, I'm going to be explaining BMI, right? BMI as well. I promise you, you need to be watching these video tutorials to help you prepare for your exams. Make it a date. Every single day, 6 p.m., you need to make sure that you're glued to the screen and you're watching Distance Learning with Lee YouTube videos to prepare you for your mathematical literacy exam. I promise you, they will really help if you're engaging and if you are also watching all my videos, okay? Because based on how I teach, okay, even if you don't know, have a clue of what's going on, you will understand what I'm doing. You will understand. So make sure that you're engaging with these video tutorials. So please, if you made it to, the end of this video tutorial, please just comment, I made it. I also just want to see something. And I'll see you guys on the next video tutorial. We're going to be looking at, the surface area of the pan. Then the next one, we're going to be working with BMI. So please make sure you do not miss. All right. Okay.
That is it, guys, and I'll see you guys on my next upload, Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. Bye, guys.